and we're delighted to be joined by the Sports Minister, Stuart Ayres, as he gets in behind this team. And I think it's fantastic that he's here today to lend out his support to the team, and the team is determined on Saturday to really represent the state proudly in what is our final, potentially our only home final opportunity that we're going to get, guaranteed. And so really our focus as a team is to make sure we represent our friends and families and our state in a way that we have done all year, in terms of really identifying and playing to our traits that have got us to this point.
Alex Newsom starting, what's the thinking behind that?
Yeah, just the one change to the starting lineup, with Alex Newsom coming forward into that wing spot. Alex has been really impressive over the last sort of 3 games in terms of impact off the bench, and he really deserves a start, and so he's earned that. It means Cam Clark drops back into the reserves.
What kind of different weapons do you think he brings to the team?
Well, I think every time he's touched the ball, he's really added. It's really exciting, and I think, as I said, I think he really deserves a shot. And he's got some excellent wingers he's going to be up against, and we know he can do the job there.
With the Highlanders, I mean, they score a lot of points, but they concede a lot of points as well there. Have you targeted any particular areas that you feel you might be able to exploit there?
Well, I think both teams will see opportunities in each other. I think the Highlanders are a very clever team. You know, they're always trying different stuff. Very exciting to watch. So a lot of our preparation is around how do we prevent that. And it's always been, for us, a very similar thing. We've got an excellent attack. For us, we've got to make sure our defences are solid and making sure that we don't concede tries as well.
Biggest game of your career as head coach? Your first
certainly, they're all big, Georgina, but certainly this one's bigger than most, because it's been 2 years since we've been in a final. It's great that this team's really starting to mature, and all those younger players that I spoke about 2 years ago are really starting to find their feet. So they're really excited about being in a final, having that opportunity in front of the home crowd, potentially what is our last game at Allianz Stadium. Not so much shaken, I think probably re-stirred in the fact that we were disappointed with our performance, and really getting back to what we know as a real priority for us, and that's showing those fighting qualities that we've shown all year. And the guys are really disappointed with what they showed, and I know this week they're going to come out a different team.
Did you have to focus more on the mental side of it, because obviously the focus, the attitude wasn't quite there last week, or was it more the technical side of things like line-outs and stuff like that?
We've had the luxury over the last sort of 3 games to name a pretty much unchanged starting lineup. So, the technical, tactical stuff, I don't think it's much of an issue. It's really around our mental state and how we turned up for that game. I think we acknowledged that we weren't where we should be. Early signs this week is a lot sharper. The boys know it's finals footy and what's required.
Do you think the sting of that was enough, or have you had to do any extra sort of stuff with them about finding them?
No, not at all. I think this team, it's been fantastic. We started a year ago to this day. We're coming to the really pointy end of the season, and it's really a rehash of what we set ourselves out to do and our purpose, and getting back to doing those things really well.
Started slow last few games. What can you do to change that this week?
Yeah, obviously it's a bit unusual for us. We've been out of the blocks really well in the last few games. I put that down to being a little bit sluggish mentally and not really being as urgent as what we need to be, particularly at the contact zone. That really sets a tone for us around our first up tackles and our shots, and clearly we weren't where we should be on that. So I'm expecting our boys to come out with a lot more commitment and intent, and to really show that.
Well, the Highlanders, no doubt, they're going to bring some pretty good cattle back, the Smiths and a few others there. How much do you take out of their game against the Rebels last week, bearing in mind this will be a pretty different side? Yeah,
well, obviously, they named a different team for that challenge. I see this one completely different. It's the 2 best teams that each can muster in a one-off game, and the victor going forward. So that changes everything. I think both teams have got X factor all over the place. They've littered with guys that just want to work hard. There's a lot of no frills about the Highlanders and our forward pack. So I think it's a really evenly matched game. Both teams like to play positive rugby, so it should be a really interesting spectacle.
The counter-attack will also put a bit of pressure on your boys to really muscle up in defence, right? Isn't that a key?
Yeah, absolutely. I think both teams with ball in hand, very exciting, and I guess both defensive coaches will be really looking at how do they stop each other.
Angus Gardner pointing to the game as well. You guys have been happy with him last weekend. Think you let it all flow this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Angus Sanzar have gone through an exhaustive process to find the best referees, and they've settled on their final 4. And Angus has been consistent all year. We were very happy with his performance last week, and I think it's good that there's an Australian referee being represented in the final 4.
How pleased were you to see Sanzar come out and say, just say something about everything you've been talking about and all the other coaches have been talking about for so long?
Absolutely. I think it's a real positive mood by administration. It's something that needs to be talked about. They've shown some real leadership there that we need to get around the table and get things sorted and move in a direction where we can all be really happy with how the game's administered and refereed in particular.
What's your take on the TMO? They said, it's used a little bit too much, it takes too long. Where do you think the central problem has been?
There's definitely a balance there in terms of how much the TMO is involved in the game and who rules who. Is the TMO the sole judge or is it the referee? And I think once we determine those factors, we're going to get an outcome on the field where the referee should be the sole judge of what happens.
We heard there was a bit of a, leading players spray after the Brumbies loss. Can you talk to us about what might have been said and what that's kind of done in terms of motivating you guys this week?
Obviously, the senior leaders were disappointed with the team's performance. Maybe Bernard could probably talk a little bit further around that, but I know the team, really upset with that final performance. But obviously you've got an opportunity this week to respond and make amends.
And what's Hoops going to do this weekend? Sorry, Gus.
Well, Hoops is having a real treat. Last week he sat in the coach's box. He was running water. Not quite sure what role he's going to do this week, but he's having a really good look around and finding different perspectives in terms of helping his leadership when he does come back.
Well, Vaughan, he's announced his retirement. I suppose what's your response to that? Obviously a sad loss.
Yeah, it's a real sad loss, and obviously his ongoing health in terms of his transition from playing back into real life. We really hope that he recovers well, and I know he's in touch with all the Waratahs players, and we wish him well on that recovery.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Good luck.
This is a call to arms to all rugby fans across New South Wales. This weekend is your home final, so don't make any excuses. Get in a car, jump on a plane, catch a train, walk to the ground if you have to, but this is your opportunity to get behind the Waratahs in their final against the Highlanders. And there's nothing better than watching an Australian rugby team run right over the top of some New Zealanders. I've got absolutely no doubt that this will be an attacking game of rugby all Saturday night. So come out and enjoy the entertainment and get to what could be the Waratahs' last final here in Sydney for this rugby season.